Good morning, y'all. Or is it afternoon? It is afternoon.
Mhm.
So good afternoon, you all. As you all know, we are coming up on our last, I guess, full day of AFSA Summit 2023. And so a part of the influencer circle is us having meaningful conversations. And so today we are going to have interviews with enlisted aides. So before we begin, just our disclaimers, you all know that the opinions that you hear today are our individual ones, and it does not represent the Department of Defense, it doesn't represent the Air Force, Space Force, nobody's parent, nobody's mom, dad, just us. Okay. So to my left, I have Sergeant Knott, and to my right, I have Sergeant Vinson. And so we're gonna go with Sergeant Knott first. For both of you all, just tell me your names, where you all stationed at, your original AFSD, and what you currently do as enlisted aides.
Okay. I'll start off. My name's Chelsi Knott, Staff Sergeant Chelsi Knott. I'm stationed at Hanscom, Massachusetts. I'm originally from Birmingham, Alabama.
Okay.
My primary AFSC is services. So I'm a 3F1 at heart, always. And what else was it? What do I do?
Mm-hmm.
As an enlisted aide, so I cook for my general. Whenever he has DBs coming to town and he wants to host events or socials, I'm that person that puts that event together, from setup to cooking to planning the menu. So I do all of that. Whenever he's going TDY or he has uniforms that he needs to wear for any type of events coming up or just his day-to-day, I get those uniforms together for him. And then I maintain the areas, the entertainment areas of the house.
So how long have you been doing this job?
Since November.
Okay.
Since November. So I'm still fairly new, getting all my trainings done, but I'm enjoying it so far.
Good. All right. Well, thank you for being with us.
So I am Master Sergeant Makisha Vinson. Everybody knows me by Nikki. I am a defender by trade.
Okay.
I've been a defender. I did defender for 14 years, and then I switched over to being an enlisted aide. I'm originally from North Carolina, and I'm stationed at the Pentagon. I'm sitting up at half level with A1 LG. So I've been sitting up there since September of 2022.
Okay.
So the responsibilities I have, I am the Enlisted Aide Regional Manager. So my responsibility is to go out to all the newly hired enlisted aides, such as Sergeant Knott. I went out to Hanscom and provided fundamentals training for her. So basically when she got there, I was there to actually do hands-on training with her. I'm there to meet anybody that comes in contact with her. So if it's like protocol, if it is the housing department, legal, anybody that she will come into contact with, I sit down and have a conversation with them as far as what they can bring to the table for her and what she can bring to the table for them.
Okay. Well, thank you all. So how did you all get into this position? Is this considered a special duty, DSD, or was this the Equal Plus Now Talent Marketplace ad that you all had to apply for?
So in the beginning when I came in, so I've been an aide now for 6 years. And so when I initially came in, it was just a process of say, hey, I want to apply for being an enlisted aide. And I just reached out to the career field manager. But before I reached out to the career field manager, there was an enlisted aide who kind of guided me along the way to help me contact the career field manager. And I put together a package. And after I put together my package, I had to be released from the career field manager, of course. Once I was released, I then spoke with the CFM, found out what openings was available and where I wanted to go. And I applied for the GO and got picked up for South AQ at the Pentagon.
Okay. What about you?
Pretty much the same process. So I was at Maxwell and I knew the enlisted aide there. And then the position I was in, I actually got to be protocol for a little bit at the home center. So I would see General Hecker at the time, his aide often, and I just kind of liked what she did. So I did a little research, got to see what all there was that enlisted aides did. And I asked her, and then the PACAF aide at the time as well. I asked them like the process, like any tips, advice. And they gave it to me. And next thing I did was reached out to the recruiters because it was almost time for me to PCS. So I reached out to the recruiters. They gave me everything that I needed to put the package together. And from there, we just routed it up. Once I got accepted, I started interviewing like with the generals. And the first general I interviewed with, I think he liked me because he ended up hiring me.
Okay.
So now I work for General Tempo up at Hanscom.
Okay. Okay.
So if right now, we are trying to push the career fields because we're trying to recruit more.
Okay.
So we are trying to push it through My Vector. And it's also on AMS. And so like you can hit the button for it, but we're not getting too much of a turnout. So we're trying to kind of reconfigure our recruiting process.
We absolutely can do a show once we get back to our home stations after AFSA. I definitely would like to give you all some more exposure if you all have different regions, because I know you said you were the regional manager. So if there's different locations, we definitely can have those conversations across our platforms, because a lot of times individuals just don't know. You know what I mean? So one question that comes to mind, or two. The first one is, are you all doing your duties while you're here, or are you all considered like TDY, and like can you all be a part of the festivities? Are you all here like doing your aid duties?
So for me, I'm here in a learning capacity.
Okay.
So it's just professional development for me. This is my first time attending AFSA. So I'm an AFSA member. So I've always wanted to actually go to a convention. So I'm not in enlisted aid capacity right now. I'm just getting my professional development.
Okay. What about you?
Yes, same. I'm getting my professional development on. My general, he's really big on, because like now with the job that I'm in the position, I don't get to be around enlisted aides or a lot of or enlisted members, period, that much anymore. So any opportunity that I have to go out there and network with other enlisted members and get that professional development, he's on board with. Yes, and I'm recruiting. So anybody asks me about my job, I'm like, oh, I'm an aide, and I tell them all about the career.
Okay, because I think that will probably be the biggest limb fact that individuals may be hesitant to apply. They may think that, okay, they're going to be bogged down to this position and not be allowed to still get that professional development and still have that enlisted connection.
So I will say that the general officers are very accommodating, because they understand that the position that we're in, right? Like we sometimes like with Sergeant Knott, she's sitting on the installation where she do not have that, she don't have that avenue of getting that enlisted structure, mentorship and stuff that she needs. So generals are very accommodating when it comes to allowing their aides to go off to do professional development. Like we just had a conference down in New Orleans for the ACF. And so aides were able to go down there to learn some culinary stuff. So depending on what we have going on, GOs don't mind with, taking that, that bill and flipping that TDY for them.
So what does ACF mean?
So it's the Creative Culinary Federation.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's basically like a lot like certified chefs, like real chefs.
Okay.
Real chefs.
Okay.
Like Michelin star chefs be there as well.
With
So
a dash.
yeah. So like they do conferences and stuff every year. And so basically you go there and they do kind of like AFSA actually. And you have them, they do some do like certain demos and show you how to like take pictures of your food, and they'll do little cooking demos for you, or some come there with their books, sign their books, their cookbooks for you, and it's just a good time. And I think like the Coast Guard and some other of our sister and brother services are there, and they do like a competition, so you get to witness competitions down there as well.
Okay. So what's the biggest difference between you all and an actual exec?
So you mean like a aide? I mean, well, like an officer exec.
Yes.
That's what you mean. Okay,
Yes.
cool. Okay, got it. So basically the exec they actually sit up at the office, right? Where my duty location is at the home, right? So I am in their personal space.
Okay.
Where the exec is basically in their business space.
Okay.
And so when I'm there, I'm actually, like she said, in the house, you're preparing their lunch or their dinner, depending on what their expectation is. You're cleaning the common areas where you may host an event. You make sure that those areas are clean. You prepare their uniforms. You pack them out for travel. You travel with them. Like I have that personal, I don't want to take personal to
Right.
like
extreme.
I don't want to take it to the extreme, because I know sometimes people like, oh wait, hold up. No, but their home is where my office is, and that's where I spend most of my time.
Okay.
So like I said, but with the exec, they do more so of the executive duties that they do.
Okay. So what about you, in your opinion, what is the biggest difference between your position and someone who's an exec?
So in my opinion, I feel like the execs handle everything professionally at the office, and we handle everything professionally at the house.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
simply put.
All right. So for you all's positions as EAs, do you all assist with any of the enlisted side? I think when I hear and see you all out and about, or what I think is taken for granted a lot of times is when I see different chiefs, MAJCOM chiefs, or command chiefs, not MAJCOM, command chiefs, they host a lot, even the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. And so I don't know if she has an enlisted aide, but a lot of times when I see the enlisted aides, it's more so geared towards supporting those officer positions versus the enlisted side.
Mhm.
So my question to you all is, do you all provide support on the enlisted side? And if you don't, do you think that this should be something that is considered in the future?
So you mean as far as like the match, or the command chiefs having enlisted aides?
Yes.
So I think it's more so of because they have the execs.
Right.
So, and I think, but they don't do what we do, the realm of the responsibilities that we have.
Yes.
And I think the level of, support that the GO needs is a little bit more than the support that a command chief would need on the enlisted side. So I think if anybody, it would maybe be SimSav.
Okay.
I think if anybody on the enlisted side in that realm would be the need enlisted aide, would maybe probably be her.
Okay.
Or him, or whoever it is.
Yeah, I agree. I think if anybody needs an aide, I feel like it would probably be the SimSav. And then I don't know as far as command chiefs what their tempo is as far as hosting people, but usually whenever we host something at Hanscom, the command chief comes.
They're there.
So it's usually joint. So I don't know if they do or how often they do individual.
So they
socials.
do. I was going to say, so I think if anything, COVID allowed us to have a certain level of connectedness that I think that we didn't have prior to that. And so there are a lot of command chiefs that are more visible and they're more, I don't want to say social butterflies, but they will have captured moments online. And so a lot of them do host. One person in particular always comes to mind, and she is prior services, is Chief Master Sergeant Melvina Smith. And so if anybody follows her or has been around her, when I tell you, I don't think that I could necessarily work for her, only because I would want to eat all the time. When I tell you she can throw all the way down in the kitchen where I am like, there is no way that I'm going to be able to be around and not want to taste and eat. And so to see them actually host these events, whenever the team goes out, or if they're hosting any leadership that comes in, from what I've seen online, a lot of times in the enlisted side, they do have those events, but it seems like it's just their, like them and whoever their spouse is or their circle that assists them. So just, that's why I brought that up, because I don't see that space. And so do you think that that's something that you all should consider doing?
So our positions, as far as the enlisted aide positions, are mandated by Congress, right? So Congress are the ones who gives us the so Congress is the ones who allocate our positions, and from beginning of time, it's always been general officers. Because of the level of people that they host for as far as their qualifying representational events, is what we call QREs. That gives us the blueprint to say, hey, I can entertain them for a certain type of events. So just because like a GO says, oh, I want to have a birthday party or something like that for my son, like that's not considered a QRE, so I can't do that. But however, I can, but you would just have to pay me according to the labor laws. So
okay, pay me.
But that is just how this program is set up.
I love
right?
it.
So that's why I said, like, it's not more so as a personal thing, it's all mission related. So
that's the biggest thing that I want to just chime in real quick. I think that's the biggest thing. It's not necessarily if you agree with the rules or not, it's knowing and understanding the rules.
Right.
So
Exactly.
you saying that you all are mandated by Congress, to me, in my mind, as a person, that's what comes to mind is public law, or certain structures that are in place that cannot be overridden by a policy that's written under a branch in the Department of Defense.
Right, and we have a DOTI that we fall under, which is DOTI 1315.09, where that is our regulation that shows us what we can and cannot do as enlisted aides.
Nice. I did not know that. Okay. I didn't. But it makes the world a difference, because again, when we're looking at inclusiveness, and especially those buzzwords like the disparity report, and not to even compare the two, but the questions do come up, like why for this one and not that one.
Right.
So saying that it's mandated by Congress, that tells us we might need to write our congressman.
Right.
But it's something that is bigger than it's more than just someone saying, okay, we're gonna.
Yeah, it's bigger than us. It's definitely bigger than
Got
us.
Got it.
Yeah, it's definitely
Okay.
bigger than us.
So how does promotion work for you all? Is it harder for you all to promote in these type of spaces, or is it easier? You think?
So I think it's a little bit difficult because we are only a small number of 63 in our whole
Okay.
total career field. So right now we are overmanned in staff sergeants. So right now we're not taking staff sergeants and we're not taking senior airmen right now. But we will take them on a case by case basis. So sometimes, GOs will, maybe try to, hire their own EA, and sometimes it may be a staff. And at the end of the day, if that's what you want,
If that's what they want, they're gonna give
that's what they
Okay.
want. So,
Got
but right now we're just taking techs and masters, and then also with a senior, it's on a case by case basis. So with that being said, the pool is very small,
Okay.
right? So 9 times out of 10, we're not. So depending on, like I said, how many we have is how many that we'll actually promote and what it is according to our minute document.
Okay.
So
Makes sense.
so I know, like for tech, those last tech results came out, we promoted 2.
Okay.
So like I say, it just depends on the numbers that we have.
Okay. In your opinion, do you think that it's easier for you to compete for promotion in this capacity, or is it harder based off of what you've seen and experienced?
So I've only been in a few months now,
You
but
did
just from what I've seen so far, I mean, I feel like the chances are shorter, of course, because it's less people. And then coming from a career field like services, where it's so many more people, probably easier to promote, lower cutoff scores maybe. But probably is a little harder. But I enjoy what I do, so it's I'll promote eventually.
Yeah, and I always tell the enlisted aides too when I go out and I do training with them is it's a small career field, and at the end of the day, we're all doing the same thing.
Yes.
So what are you going to do to set yourself apart where that your EPB doesn't look like the next person's EPB? Because we're all cooking, we're all cleaning.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So what are you going to do to make your record stand out better to
Absolutely.
help your chances for promotion?
Right. I like what you said. It kind of hit the nail on the head of like having realistic expectations when you come into this space. If you enjoy what you're doing, the trade-off may be, okay, I may have to sit in a certain rank longer than I typically would.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just kind of like weigh your options of, okay, is this what I'm going to sign up for? Versus coming into a space and individuals then complain of like, man, if I was in my career field, I would have gotten, with this score, I would have been able to do X, Y, Z. So have realistic expectations. Okay.
And not to and take away that stereotype that think like, oh, because you're an enlisted aide and your supervisor is a general officer, that does not necessarily mean you're gonna get promoted.
Absolutely.
Like
Yes.
that's not true at all.
Okay.
So,
Okay. So Tony and Maggie, we have any questions? I don't know if y'all can't see the questions.
We do.
Okay.
I bet.
So I know you were saying, you pack for their TDYs and you travel with them sometimes as well. How often are you traveling on like a year or quarterly?
Okay, so let's take CSAF for example, right?
Well, hold on. So the question was, in case y'all can't hear because I don't know where the mic placement is, how often do you all travel with the general officers that you all support?
Right. So take CSAF, for example. He has 3 enlisted aides, and we all know that he travels all the time. So his aides travel with him all the time. Now, being that he have 3, they're probably able to, break it up. Hey, I'll go this time, you go next time, but whatever the case may be. But it all depends on also the trip that the GO goes on. A lot of times, especially like coming up, we have AFA. A lot of the aides are going to go TDY with their boss because not only are they going to come and get some professional development, but they're also going to come in and support the GO as well. So it just all depends how much that GO travels.
Next question.
I remember speaking with you all previously, and something that you alluded to was that enlisted aides often PCS with their general as opposed to staying in the same position.
Right.
Can you let us know how that ends up?
So I am one of those individuals who did that. I was initially hired. My boss was the Secretary of the Air Force for Acquisition. Once he was confirmed to be the new AFMC MATCHCOM, he had to PCS to Right Pack. In that process, he came to me and asked me, told me and asked me that he would love for me to go and would I like to go. So by him asking me, I said, yeah, so we all PCS together, and I went on to write that.
Okay.
So it is where you can PCS with your boss, only if the position that the GO is going to is a lot of the aid from Congress.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
So do you all live in the home? No, I just wanted to know, because I have a child that is 8 going on 28, and so he would test somebody's house up. So do you all live? I just, just in case I wanted to glance.
Absolutely
No.
not.
Okay, well, thank God.
Absolutely
Because when I think LJ would tear the house down
No.
with a smile. Okay.
No, absolutely not.
Right. Are you in close proximity? Like, do you all live? So with you being at the Pentagon, I know that's not base housing because I was assigned there as well.
Well, so I don't have a GO anymore.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, I don't have a GO anymore.
That's
But
right.
when he was the MAGCOM commander, yes, I did live on base, like a couple house, well, maybe a half a mile from his house.
Okay.
And so he had 2 aides at the time. So I had a junior aide, and she literally lived right across the street.
Okay.
So
I live on base as well. I live like 5 minutes from them, but I don't think it's mandatory.
It's
though.
not mandatory. it's just a
It's
convenience.
easy. Yeah, that convenience.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a convenience thing, but it's not mandatory.
Okay. What is the most challenging thing you have experienced thus far in your position as a EA? I know I put you on the spot. I know.
The most challenging thing. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. The most challenging thing I had to do so far was I was in a culinary class.
Okay.
And I had to kill a lobster. And it just didn't sit right with my soul, you know.
'Cause it might
They
have
were
a
teaching
bug.
us,
It
yeah,
looked like a bug to
they
me.
were teaching
Okay.
us how to fabricate lobsters. And I just struggled with it. I did. I think that was the hardest thing because so far, like, I have a really good general right now. So the job is smooth. Yeah, and I think I'm very resilient in a way, you know, so it takes a lot for me to say, oh, this is too much. So right now, everything's going good.
Okay.
I don't really have any complaints.
Okay. What about you?
I think the most challenging thing for me was also the culinary aspect. Like I said, I was the defender. I'm single, so I just made enough food for myself.
Right.
Right, like I can
Right.
whip up some noodles and I'm
Right.
good. So I think like just going to the culinary schools and it was putting me outside of my comfort zone was kind of one of the most challenging things for me. And also trying to handle that work-life balance, right? Because it's like I would do so much at the GO's house, making sure that house is taken care of. And then when I get home, I didn't have the time for myself to do what I needed to do for myself. So I just had to basically balance out how can I give myself as much time as I'm giving my job.
That was a question from the audience.
What?
Drea, hey Drea, but she was asking, how do you balance your time off and what is your like work risk type of cycle?
Right, and also I would say too, like all GOs don't allow their aides to travel with them, right? So that is the time when your GO is away, right? That's time for you to take care of yourself, take care of any medical appointments that you need to take care of, take care of any classes, go to school, go to a PES, give a briefing. Like that is the time that you take full advantage of to make sure that you're bettering yourself personally while the GO is away.
So do you all have anybody right now on the team that is a single parent or meal-to-meal or any of those type of like interesting dynamics that may shun individuals away from wanting to, put their name in the hat and even apply for these type of positions?
I would say one of the most challenging, I think, that we're running into problems right now is the meal-to-meal. Sometimes individuals, you may be able to go to a certain base, right? But your spouse may have a job where they can only go to select bases, like maintenance, where you can only do certain jobs, or they're trying to go to a base where there is no maintenance, or you're trying to go to a base and your spouse, and there's no services.
Right.
So I think that's the most challenging thing that we're having right now is the meal-to-meal. If I can remember, and I may be wrong, and if I am, I apologize, but I don't think we have any single parents
Okay.
that are aides right now. But I feel like if that was the case, a lot of bases have multiple aides, and I'm sure they would get the support they needed if they were to come to a base, become enlisted aides.
Okay. Do you have any other questions from the audience? Okay, so kind of switching gears a little bit with you all's time here, have you all been able to separate yourself from work? Because even with me being here, I still find myself like, let me go get this done real quick, or I need to want to still be connected and take care of the mission. Have you all been able to unplug or?
For me, no, because of the position that I sit in right now. We do have a brand new career field manager that just came in a couple months ago. So I'm sit at half where she sits at, along with Master Sergeant White, who also sit up there. So we're doing a few programs right now that we're trying to implement and trying to change some things and trying to do some things. So I'm definitely have my hands in that. And so I'm constantly checking my email because, stuff is coming down. So I haven't fully separated myself, but I get what I can get from here and then give what I need to give to work when I have, the downtime.
Okay. What about you?
Yeah, so I've been able to kind of unplug and give all my time here to the conference. But when the conference ends around 4:35, I go upstairs and check my email, just because when I do return, I don't want to be missed on anything or late on anything. And they know I'm at a conference, right? But just in case protocol has a DD visit that was last minute coming up or anything along those lines, I just like to stay in the know.
Okay. So someone does not know how to cook, or they may think that they know how to cook from wherever they're from. What type of training do you all have to participate in or be caught up on before you are sent to a general's house?
Okay. So we have a training pipeline. And so initially we try to send them to the Enlisted Aide training course, which is out at Fort Gregg Adams. We send them, so it's the new Fort Lee, which is
in Virginia.
Yes. I don't even know that little bit of town.
That Richmond area?
Yeah, the Richmond area, yeah. So it's there. And then they will go back there for advanced culinary, which gives them a kind of advanced culinary course. You'll go there. But I try to have them go to boot camp, because there is a boot camp class.
Really?
Right. So I try to have them go to boot camp before they go to advanced, because especially like I said myself, I didn't really know how to cook, and I just need those fundamentals, right? Yes. I need that beginning stage before I go to advanced.
Yes.
Because when you go to advanced, you're basically put into an industrialized kitchen, and you're basically made to do 3-course meals. You're basically made to do, and it's all time.
Really?
Right? Like it's all time.
Okay.
So that puts you into a space where you can, trying to get yourself acclimated to what you're going to step into. And so after that, then we'll try to send them to Pro Chef 1, and that's at the Culinary Institute of America in San Antonio. I went to the one in New York. So you'll go there and you'll get your personal certification. So there are courses out there. Now, if you go to a course that's not within the training pipeline, say I know some aides who have went to took a Mediterranean course, or I know aides who took bartending or wine classes. All those are offered as long as your GO supports it.
Okay.
So you can get as much culinary experience as you want.
Okay. So because sometimes you guys are a lot of times far removed from the rest of the Air Force or military personnel, how can we support you all more now that, building this awareness? We know that you all are out there, right? I think it's been a second thought in our mind, unless we know someone personally, how can we support you all?
So I think I'll let you answer then, because I don't want to.
Okay.
Okay.
And
I would say just continue pushing out any new information, any even old information that you think that normal people in the Air Force just know. This is a no-brainer. Everybody knows this. Push it out, because somebody doesn't, And I do have a few mentors that I reach out to every now and then, but just not being at that squadron level anymore, and just the day-to-day conversations, those updates, just push them out because I'm looking for them.
So when you say push them out, you mean push them out online or through what channels?
Yes, I follow the UMU. Yes, I follow UMU. So yes, push it out that way, and then any other ways that you.
Okay.
I say for me, if you are at a installation where there may be an enlisted aide, right? Take them under your wing, especially chiefs. I talk to the chiefs, the command chiefs, and say, hey, she's for her, she's out here, she's by herself, the GO is not going to push out their info. They don't have time, right? So they need that enlisted top tier to say, hey, I see you, I know you here, let me help you, let me know what you need. So I think we need those enlisted people that are on installations to help the aides who are in circumstances where they don't have top cover.
Okay.
So that's what I say. And like I say, y'all push out a lot of information, even the Air Force writing stuff, y'all put out a lot of information. When I receive stuff from half level, I try to push it out to the field as well. So
how do you all align when y'all in process? Do you all fall under that? I know you all, of course, work for that general officer, but do you all fall under like FSS or just directly under them? Like, where is your alignment?
So it's under wherever unit you work in. So like she will fall under the C3 or
C3
the C. Yep.
Okay.
That's what she will fall under. When I was with Pat, I fell under headquarters because that's who I worked for. But yeah, so it just all depends on what unit, and that's where they fall.
Okay. Just putting folks on notice. So if they are assigned or aligned under your umbrella, to look for them or see them in X, Y, Z. Okay.
Yep.
So when you all do your hiring process, do you all follow the schedule of DSD, or is you all on a case-by-case basis and something opens up?
So it's basically like when jobs open up. So we are not, we're not considered a DSD. We're kind of considered a special duty, but we have our own AFSC, 8 Alpha 200. So basically, like when opportunities come open, like when GOs who don't have aides, that's how it gets pushed out. So like I said, through my vector, that's what we try to do. And we try to link the hiring, the person that wants the job, we try to link them with a GO. And then they'll do an interview with the GO and then, see how that, in the event that they get removed from their career field through their CFM.
How long is the term for you guys?
So really right now, we are just, we don't have it. So like, we don't have a term right now. Like I said, I've been enlisted aide for 6 years right now. We have some who have been in a little longer because of course we need continuity. So I think at some point we are going to go to like the whole structure that the DSD has, 3 to 4 years. You do 3 or 4 years and then you go back. Right, you go back to your career field, and then you stay out maybe a year or two. And if you want to come back, then you get the opportunity to come back because you already have that experience. But right now, we don't have anything set in place in black and white as far as how long somebody can be an enlisted aide.
I hope you all do consider that portion, and it's more so you all don't lose your skill level,
right?
Because a lot of times I will see online, and I've learned that I think a lot of my knowledge and experience is because of my career field. And so individuals, they'll say, I try to stay out longer and somebody's trying to hold me back.
Yeah.
They don't want me to be great. And it's like, no, like, again, you don't have to like the process, but at least understand the why behind it. And so if you're outside of your career field, your primary career field for a certain amount of time, you start losing your skill level. So then if you're out and there isn't a window of how long this person can be out, that's something that they're going to have to consider. And then of course, I think you all will get more support as far as releases. Have you all ran into that as a, because I'm like, man, if I lend you out and you can't tell me how long this loan is going to be, I don't know when I'm going to get my return, return on the investment.
Right, I know, right.
We all hurt.
Right,
So,
that is true.
okay.
So our brand new career field manager, Chief Master Sergeant Brock. Hey, Chief, I don't know if you're out there, but hey, she's working diligently on working with AFPC to get people released, or the career field managers, I'm sorry, to get people released. I think the only thing that we're having a little bit of pushback from right now is the fact that when aides travel with their GO, right, sometimes they're not on station long enough. Right, and they need to have that time on station.
Right.
So that's the only thing that we're trying to work something out with AFPC right now to say, hey, 9 times out of 10, if an aide has been only with their GO, which GOs move every 2 years or so, we can't just keep, So that's what we're working on right now.
Right.
Other than that, we've been having CFM's been very, very, very good with releases.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any other questions that you all can see? Okay. So this was definitely enlightening enlightening. I say enlightening. Again, once we get back, I definitely would like to have a deeper dive conversation with you all, and maybe have some representation from throughout the force of who you all already have on your team. And so with you being a regional manager, how many regional managers are there?
Me.
It's just you.
Basic global.
Okay. All right. So if you had it, if it was set up and aligned perfectly, how many regional managers should you all have?
I think right now, because we don't have an influx of aides coming in, I think right now, ideally, I would say maybe 2 or 3.
Okay.
But right now, we don't have the influx of aides coming in right now. So like I haven't been TDY. I think my last TDY was June. So I haven't, but I'm about to go TDY here probably in the next couple of weeks to go to Guam because we have an aide coming in there. So I'll go to Guam and do that training. But right now it's just.
I know I did have one other question. Does the DOTI specify how long you all are to be in these positions, or is it vague? So they don't have that?
It don't.
Okay.
So basically the DOTI just basically says, okay, what enlisted aide can do, what enlisted aide can't do.
Okay.
Basically.
I understand.
In a nutshell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then like how, like what GOs is allowed to aid and what GO can do, for their aid or with their aid, or have their aid do for them.
And so for you all, are you all only open to general officers that fall under the Department of the Air Force, or are you all purple, where you all can be aligned under different branches?
We have joint, yes, we have joint positions. We have Army GOs that have Air Force enlisted aides.
Really?
Even like right now, we have Space Force GOs that have, of course, Air Force enlisted aides because they don't have their own enlisted aides right now. We have a Air Force GO that has a Marine EA. So yeah, we're joint. We all work together.
Okay, so one follow-up question: what value do you all see from being in the seat? Because individuals may see this and they're like, "Oh, well, I'm not a maid, or I'm not the help from that aspect. So why in the world would I want to sign up to do something like this?" What is and it's ironic that individuals do have this mindset, because if you look at the name sergeant, it is serve, which means to serve. So I think individuals just forgetting or not even realizing what their name means,
Right.
what comes with that. But I can already hear, and I've heard in the past, individuals like, "Oh, I'm not the help.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be nobody's maid."
Right.
What gratitude or what tools do you all receive from being in this type of position?
For me personally, this is if you're not a servant, this is not for you, right? Like you have to take your blinders off and realize what is the mission at hand. The mission is to basically takes away those minute things that a GO has to do so that he can go out and do the mission, right? Like what can I take away from him so that he can be successful to the force, right? So he can pay his attention to the force. What can I do to take that away? If you don't have a servant heart and you don't have a passion to take care of others, this won't be for you.
And they should, because of the nature of what we do.
You would think so. Like I said, I'm a cop background and I got it, right? We are out.
Upside down or backwards.
Yeah, somebody's ripping it upside down. And
There
backwards.
was. But hey, nobody's perfect, right? We all make
Absolutely.
mistakes,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
then with that comes rehabilitation, right?
Grace.
So,
Absolutely.
right. So they messed up and they were able to fix it, correct it, and let's press. Like I said, we're not perfect. I got a story. I put my boss wings upside down. But listen, I've never did wings before.
Yes.
But so, you know what I mean? Like I don't have wings on a female uniform.
Yeah.
So, but yet at the same time, I had a team. I had an aide de camp to check it and say, "Hey, boss, let me change that for you." Teamwork, right? And if that general had, if his team was good to go, that probably could have been corrected prior to the situation.
Okay.
But then again, I say, go back to say, like, yeah, you have to have a servant heart, right? You have to take the blinders off and see what it is. And yeah.
What about you?
Yes, I agree with everything she said. And I also feel like perception is everything. So if you're you read what the PD is of this job, and you know what you do in the Air Force, and you go into it with that mentality like, oh, I'm not a slave, or oh, I'm not a maid. Like,
What
come
you
on,
put out
like,
is what you get in.
Yes.
Right? So if you're gonna put that out, that's what you're gonna get back.
Absolutely.
right. And I feel like it's pros and cons that come with every job, but with this job specifically, it's so much you can get from it, you know. And just the relationships and being able to be that close to a GO, you know, like we see them
Yes.
speak all the time,
Mhm.
but to see the stages before they go out to speak, to see how they operate at work and see how they operate once they get home, and then to take in all that information and be able to one day go back to your unit and pour into other troops and pour into other airmen at your duty station. I love it, like honestly, and it's so much that you can get out of it.
Exactly. I feel like you guys are in such a very critical space where you all can see things that you would not see if you were in your normal AFSCs or your normal day-to-day jobs. You being able to be kind of like the house mouse, but kind of in the background, you being able to see and hear and learn and absorb all of that information. I think there's so much value that is added to that.
Right. And just to see, like, you know, these GOs, to see these GOs out here when they do their speeches, right? Like, do you know how much time and preparation that it takes for them to sit out here and do a speech? That time that he gets home and he reading and he's reading and he's reading and he's reading. Why should he have to worry about his uniform? Why should he worry about where his dinner is? Right? Like, that's just taking away some of those things that he doesn't have to worry about.
Right.
And I know a lot of people don't see it as like, oh, well, where's his wife? Or where's the husband? Where's the spouse? Right? But a lot of time when you have GOs who are at an upper echelon, like CSAF, the missus is also, you know, they're also up there. So it's just certain things you have to think about when it comes to this job and what it is that you're willing to put out.
To me, it reminds me of those support AFSCs where a lot of times, I know for me, when I try to drive home the importance of these different career fields, i.e. like personnel, individuals can't focus on the mission if these certain things are not in order or taken care of. So you all being able to take care of those different detailed things for our general officers so that they can execute the mission or have a peace of mind.
Right.
You all definitely are very pivotal in their success. And so I hope that you all are present in that and realize that and know that. And we definitely appreciate you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank
It's
you.
a thankless job. And so a lot of times it's to bring it all back home. If something's going on with my son, I can't focus.
Right.
Or if I know I'm about to have people over at the house and my house is not together, I can't focus. So for you all to be able to take away those different stressors, I think there's so much value that's added into that.
Right.
And so I appreciate that.
And it's all the opportunities you get as well, like all the trainings and different, you know, certifications and things like that you can get. It's just it's not always a bad thing. Like, there is some good that comes out of it.
Yeah.
You know, there's some things that you can get back from it.
Limitless possibilities, for sure.
Exactly.
For sure.
Exactly.
Okay, so any closing comments that you all would like to leave out to the world? If we wanted to find more information about enlisted aides, where can individuals go? And do you all have any type of social media presence? Do you all have any demonstrations or anything?
So we have a social media page, but it's basically the Air Force EA page. So it's basically all the EAs. We go up there and we share, recipes, and we share our events and stuff. But we don't have anything that's public to the social media world. And it's because I think it's because we get so much backlash, right? Like, we get a lot of negativity. I
know the thug thumbs.
I can't tell you how many times we've been on the Airman NCO.
Me too.
Right. I can't tell you. So no, we don't have anything publicly. But if anybody want to know anything about the Enlisted Aide, actually there is we have a little snippet on the I think on the portal. Okay. On the portal page. You can just type in Enlisted Aide or whatever. But if anybody want any information or whatever on the Enlisted Aide career field, please reach out to me. Reach out to Sergeant Knott. We do have a recruiting team, and if there's anything that I can't answer for you, I definitely will point you in the right direction to the recruiting team. But yeah, just reach out to me. I don't mind helping anybody. I'm with it. I'm with getting people up in here because I need them to see a different light.
Absolutely. And anything that we can do to assist in that, I think that kind of is a big part of my why,
Mhm.
where I know that there are going to be those thug thumbs that are out there, individuals that are going to have opinions.
Yeah.
But I think the good outweighs the bad. If
Mhm.
it's going to bring you all empowerment, exposure, then I definitely want to make sure that we assist you all so you guys can get the best of the best to, apply or be a part of you
Oh,
all's
absolutely.
world for sure.
And also, if you're on a base where there's an enlisted aide, right, you can shadow them, right? If they have time, or you want to go in just to see what it is that they do, you can do that. Like, there's nothing saying that you can't. You know what I mean? But like I said, just be open-minded if that's something that you want to do.
Okay. And what about you? Anything you want to leave? Final comments? Anything?
Yes.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. This was
Yes,
fun. Yes, if y'all have any questions, please reach out to myself or Master Sergeant Vinson. But you can start there. But if you have any extra-
Right. Start over here now. Now ask her first now, right? Okay. Got it.
Yes. Yeah, my first name's Chelsi, and that's with an I, and then my last name is Knott. Yeah, I'm an open book. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Okay. We definitely will make sure that we add you all's handles and information that's on there. We definitely want to get you all back on. I think we did the same thing with the fellows program. So a lot of times it's individuals just not knowing.
Mhm.
There's so many different programs or different opportunities that's out there. So we definitely want to highlight you all. So we thank you guys for taking time away from your lunchtime, your downtime in between for AFSA. And I think this is a part of why AFSA, these summits exist, for us to be able to network and to connect. So I appreciate you all being willing to be transparent and vulnerable up here, because people can critique you from afar,
Oh yeah.
but then they get on camera and they're like, "Oh, what's my name again?" So I appreciate you all
Thank
so
you
much.
for having us. Like,
Absolutely.
I feel like I'm a little sorry. I'm on you and you.
Yes.
Like, I'm on you and you.
Yes,
Come on,
absolutely.
I am on you and you. Don't tell me I ain't
Come on
made it.
now. Exactly. Exactly. So we will have their information below. We definitely appreciate you all for tuning in. So if you all have any questions that were not answered, go ahead and put them in the comments. And we will make sure that Sergeant Vincent and Sergeant Knott can get into the comments and have those questions. And that may even spark our list of questions that we can have a fire round, quick Q&A. So to bring awareness and answer those questions for you all.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So until next time, we will be out. So thank y'all, UMU, Air Force Right and Self-Improvement, anyone who is watching out there, especially because it's AFSA Summit. We appreciate y'all. We thank y'all. So
Thank you. Bye.
Here's not touch screen.